Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran. In this update for patch 9.1, with the Tuesday/Wednesday reset for the EU regions, we are going to be receiving a variety of different buffs for our classes, especially when it comes to the new raid. It's not really a specified class changes like a hunter buff or a shaman buff, but rather a system that all the classes are utilizing right now in order to increase the damage output. Those systems are getting quite a bit of a tune-up, and it's going to affect a variety of different classes in different ways, but overall it should be a pretty massive increase no matter what class you play and no matter what covenant you are currently playing. And we also got some of the other updates for patch 9.1 that I haven't got to cover this week so far that I did want to cover in this video. So let's dive into some of the updates, some of the massive buffs we're seeing with this Tuesday/Wednesday reset. First, let's take a look at the massive buffs we're getting for the Shards of Domination bonuses. It looks like we're getting a pretty hefty buff for Bloodlink bonus, which is the red shard bonus, as well as the Winds of Winter, which is the blue shard bonus, with also a developer's note, which I think Blizzard should continue doing those. I'm a huge fan whenever they add a developer's note talking about why they're making changes. Whether it's good, whether it's not, whether it's a buff or a nerf, whether it makes sense or not, just adding some kind of like a footnote, just explaining why they're doing a change for any reason whatsoever, I think helps out a lot, at least gives us an idea of where their head is, because sometimes class changes happen and sometimes they're actually necessary, but players without the context might feel like, oh, the nerf in rogues must be because somebody at Blizzard just doesn't like rogues. So having an extra footnote at least just gives us an idea of where their head is with some of these updates. The ranks part means that these shard bonuses are going to be pretty massive. If you're not aware of what the shard bonuses are, to go over with it quickly, there's new domination gear, and this gear comes with new sockets. Like gem sockets, these are going to be domination sockets where specific domination shards, which are like raid gems, go into. And these gems have their own bonuses. They're not like crit and versatility increases. They can be like leech or speed, but they could also be like increase in damage to enemies when they're in the execute phase, or when you hit a new enemy you do more damage, absorbs, healing, a variety of different things. The shards themselves are alright. They can be upgraded in relative power, but the upgrade between the lowest version and the highest version of these ranks of shards, it's more or less small. The biggest bonuses come from when you have 3 of the same type of shards, 3 blues, 3 reds, or 3 purples in your gear. This is where you get the shard bonus, the gem bonus in a sense. Kind of like a tier set bonus, but not really. These bonuses can either do procs on damage with maybe a bit of healing, or maybe just buff your character by giving you primary stats, or a mix of both, buffing some kind of a secondary stat and using damage procs off that secondary stat. So the best bonus has been the purple bonus, which gives you a ton of primary stats with the final coalesced explosion of big time primary stats, which a lot of players have been using, but with fewer DPS, that's like your only good bonus. So Blizzard is buffing out the Blood Link bonus and all the ranks of it by 20%. Same thing is happening to the Frost bonus by about 45%, to hopefully make them a little bit more balanced. These shards themselves provide a bonus, but as you upgrade the shards, if you upgrade them all from rank 1 to a rank 2, the bonus is a rank 2 version of that bonus. And then rank 3, rank 4, rank 5, and you can upgrade these bonuses quite a bit. So hopefully with these changes, we'll see a lot more players trying out different shards. This is definitely going to be meta shifts, as it looks like some classes will actually be able to play with different legendaries based on the shards that you're running, like rogues for example. It looks like there's some spicy new builds coming out, and I'm pretty sure other classes are in the same boat. So pay attention with this Tuesday Wednesday reset to find out what your best shards are. Maybe some websites might be able to give you a bit of an idea. Also this week we're getting some of the final traits unlocked for some of the Soulbinds of different covenants. So then I'm really excited about this part. Some of these Soulbind capstone traits, the very last traits, are actually massive. Earlier in the week we've gotten some of the ones for Clea, Emeni, and there's also Theotar, which all have been really strong when it comes to the final traits. But these next ones coming up this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, are actually pretty massive. You have things like cooldown reduction for your Covenant ability when you hit multiple enemies with Mechanicos, which is going to allow certain players to, with some of the Covenant legendaries, to do incredible amounts of damage, actually just outperforming everybody. That one looks really insane. You have Naya for the Night trait, which has been probably the best Soulbind for the longest time, and the main trait of Naya is getting powered even more with a capstone trait, so you're most likely going to have even more people going Night Fae. Then you also have the Venthyr with Naja, for example, offering a 10-second buff for 20% crit, or 20% versatility. If you are a PvPer, you're drooling at this point. 20% versa, that's a lot. It's definitely going to see some sort of a nerf. I can almost expect it, whether maybe cut by a half or maybe down to a 5% in PvP, which is still pretty massive. I mean, it's 5% more damage output than your opponent, but either way, massive increase. Also, didn't mention Necrolords, but they're getting extra execute bonuses or just passive damage every time you use Covenant abilities. What I'm trying to say is some of these Soulbinds I think are going to be pretty game changing. Combined with some of the Covenant legendaries that we have and final full Soulbinds are active, you might even have some meta shifts going forward. Not everybody's going to be doing some meta shifts, but there has been some odd builds on PTR, which I think are going to be resurfacing for the patch 9.1. And maybe there'll even be some buffs of tuning, or buffs and nerfs for some of these final traits as well going forward, which also could impact it. But these capstone traits are going to be kind of massive. They're going to open up and offer some builds that players might actually be able to play. And that means you might want to actually consider switching to Covenant depending if you want to try a different playstyle. You also are going to be getting more updates for some of these Soulbinds, which we'll cover probably next week once we get more on this, like actual upgrades coming out. But these are going to be pretty massive, and they definitely are going to be making some changes when it comes to what everybody plays for the Covenant in this week. We also have had some Mythic Plus changes to the new Tormented affix. They changed some spawn locations for some of the lieutenants, which I didn't know they were called lieutenants actually. I always thought they were like elite mobs, but the lieutenants of Torghast instead of Necrotic Wake, for example. But they also get some changes to the quality of life stuff with it, like anima orbs. They still continue to become a problem, so if you have multiple enemies stacked together, like pets and NPCs, you should be able to click through the orb either way. You also have some changes to Biting Cold, for example, from one of the lieutenants. He now can be defended against spell reflection, so that should be a pretty big buff for warriors, whether you tank or DPS. Carnage as an ability from that lieutenant that reduces the amount of healing that your party gets and will charge at a random ally from time to time can now be dodged or parried, which gives a variety of different DPS ways of dealing with Carnage, unless you're a rogue where you just will randomly dodge it just because rogues, which can also be sometimes fun. Blizzard also did some nerfs to some of the raid bosses like the Mythic Remnant of Ner'zhul, where in Mythic difficulty became a little bit easier with the orbs and the malevolence mechanic. They also are still trying to fix Kel'Thuzad, so he should be more consistent if you've ever done Kel'Thuzad before. Sometimes it feels like his abilities just do random things at times, and I think he's still doing some weird things. He's still resin allies in the third phase of the boss fight, at least on Heroic, which I'm pretty sure he's not supposed to, so hopefully that'll get fixed soon. And also, we mentioned it early in the week, but Oribos does have an anima vendor. If you're sitting on extra anima, you can now buy some of the trade skill consumables for auction house selling in order to make a quick buck on a side. If you're sitting on just a ton of anima, and let's be honest, if you ever venture into Korthia, do any of the dailies there, you're overflowing with anima within seconds. It's just everywhere, whether it is the dailies, which are pretty easy to complete, whether it is the certain rares, the treasures that you're hunting, the chests that you're looting, everywhere in Korthia, there's anima literally overflowing it. So for you as a player, if you are sitting on a ton of anima and you're not really thinking of investing it on any of the cosmetics and such, if you or maybe have bought all the cosmetics and you're just sitting on it, not really sure what to do with it, it might not be a bad idea to just use that vendor to convert some of the anima into quartzite crystals to list them on the auction house, make a quick buck on the side. A lot of players have actually been able to utilize the new anima vendor with a ton of anima they're sitting on to make quite a bit of gold. And while I'm not somebody who really plays the auction house, I would imagine for many of you that are just sitting on anima and there's no use for it, you might as well turn it a little bit into some profit. Maybe enough to get some flasks for the next raid that you're running, or eventually accumulate enough gold in order to buy the rank 6 legendary. A lot of you guys have talked before how, man, there's not enough gold in World of Warcraft. There's callings that you can do, there's quests you can do, but now there's also a way for you to convert anima into gold. So if you are still saving gold for that one piece of legendary rank 6 gear that you're trying to still craft for your character, that would be a pretty good way of going about it, at least in my opinion. Of course, you can also start playing the auction house to really make big bucks out of it, but if you're just someone who plays the game more casually or doesn't really want to invest your time into the auction house stuff that much, it is quite a bit of gold on the side, and more quartzite crystals will hopefully bring down the price of the legendaries because there's more quartzite crystals. Legendaries are a lot easier to make, and hopefully there'll be more of them in the auction house, and with that kind of demand, hopefully the price should go down. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I really do hope you guys enjoyed. You let me know your thoughts in the comments below on these updates, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.